I'm 100 years old. I didn't think I would live this long, and I certainly didn't think I'd still be thinking about him every morning when I wake up. But I do. I think about him before I even remember where I am. I'm telling this now because there isn't much time left, and because the truth doesn't feel heavy anymore. It just feels clear. Clear in a way it never did when I was younger, when everything felt urgent and loud and unfinished. I lost my closest friend after 60 years, and only then did I understand what loyalty really was. At my age, people assume you're full of wisdom. They think you've been carrying it around your whole life, like a pocket watch passed down from one generation to the next. The truth is, most of what I understand now came late, too late to use, just in time to see it plainly. I live alone now. I've outlived my wife, my siblings, and most of my neighbors. The days are quiet, not peaceful, just quiet. There's a difference. Silence has weight when it stretches long enough. Sometimes I talk out loud just to hear a voice. Sometimes it's his voice I hear answering back, the way he used to, slow and dry and certain. Sometimes I forget he's gone for a few seconds, and then I remember again. That forgetting hurts more than remembering. I'm not telling this because I want to be remembered. That idea stopped mattering somewhere in my 80s. I'm telling it because it feels wrong to carry it all the way out without letting it be known, like leaving a light on in an empty room. We met when we were both young, though it feels strange now to call that version of myself young. I was 22. He was 23. We worked at the same place, a warehouse near the rail yard. The kind of job you don't dream about, but take because it pays and because you don't know yet what else to do. He was quiet, not shy, just economical with words. When he spoke, it was usually worth listening to. I was the opposite. I filled space. I talked because silence made me nervous back then. We didn't become friends right away. We stood next to each other for weeks, loading crates, nodding, exchanging short remarks about the weather or the foreman. The friendship grew the way most real ones do, without ceremony. One day we were eating lunch together. Next, we were walking home in the same direction. Then we were sharing rides. Then years passed. I don't remember the first deep conversation we had. I remember the feeling of realizing, slowly, that he was someone I trusted without thinking about it. That kind of trust sneaks up on you. We built our lives side by side, not together exactly. Parallel. He married a year before I did. I had children first. He bought a house first. I changed jobs more often. He stayed put. We joked about it. I used to tease him for being steady. He used to shake his head at me when I talked about my plans, my ambitions, my restlessness. He was there when my first child was born. He held her awkwardly, like he was afraid he might break her. He laughed when she grabbed his finger. I remember thinking, without saying it, that he'd be a good uncle if life worked that way. When his wife got sick the first time, I drove him to the hospital. I waited in the car because he said he didn't need me inside. I should have gone in any way. I didn't know then how many times I would wish I'd stayed closer when it mattered. Life moved forward the way it always does. 1 year stacking onto the next, each one convincing you that this is how things are meant to be. We talked less as responsibilities grew, not because of anger, just because of time. Time has a way of stealing from you without asking. We still saw each other. Birthdays, holidays, occasional dinners, but the long talks grew shorter. The silences grew longer. I told myself it was normal. I told myself friendship didn't need constant attention to survive. I wasn't wrong. But I wasn't entirely right either. Loyalty, I would later learn, isn't about staying connected only when it's convenient. It's about staying present even when life pulls you elsewhere. I didn't understand that then. I thought loyalty meant not betraying someone. I thought it meant honesty. I thought it meant showing up when asked. I didn't realize how much it also meant noticing when someone stops asking. There were signs. They seem obvious now. He'd pause longer before speaking. He'd listen more than talk. He stopped joking about my business. He started saying things like, "You've got a lot on your plate," in a tone that wasn't admiring anymore. Just distant. I missed his 60th birthday party because of work. I sent a card. I told myself it was fine. He didn't complain. He never did. That was part of who he was. He accepted what people gave him without asking for more. When his wife died, I was there. I stood next to him at the funeral. I put my hand on his shoulder. I said what people say. I meant it, but I didn't stay afterward. I went home. I told myself he'd want space. I told myself I'd check in later. Later came. Later passed. Later it became a habit. We talked on the phone sometimes. Short conversations. Updates, weather, health. I didn't ask how lonely he was. He didn't tell me. We were both good at pretending things were manageable. Years slipped by like that. Quietly, without drama. That's how most damage is done, I've learned. Not with explosions. With neglect that feels harmless in the moment. Then one afternoon, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was a neighbor of his. She said he'd had a stroke. She said he was in the hospital. She asked if I was family. I hesitated before answering. That hesitation still bothers me. I said, "I'm his friend." I went to see him that day. He was conscious, but changed. Slower. His speech was thick. His eyes still recognized me, though. That recognition broke something open in my chest. I sat by his bed. We talked, or tried to. He struggled to find words. I filled the silence like I always had. Too much. Too fast. I talked about my grandchildren. About the old days, about nothing important. At one point, he reached for my hand. His grip was weak, but deliberate. He looked at me for a long time. Then he said, slowly, "You're still here." I laughed it off. I said, "Of course I am." But I wasn't. Not the way I should have been. Not the way he meant. He died 3 weeks later. I wasn't there when it happened. I was planning to visit the next day. I thought there was time. Afterward, I went to his house. The neighbor let me in. It smelled like dust and old books. His things were still where he'd left them. His coat by the door. His shoes lined up neatly. On his kitchen table was a notebook. I didn't intend to read it. I really didn't. But it was open, and my name was on the page. He hadn't written much. Just dates, observations, small thoughts. One line stopped me cold. I don't think he knows how much he means to me. I sat at that table for a long time. Long enough that the light changed. Long enough that my legs went numb. I had thought loyalty was proven in grand moments. In standing up for someone, in defending them, in being reliable when asked. But loyalty, I realized then, is quieter. It's consistency. It's choosing someone even when there's no urgency forcing you to. It's staying when nothing dramatic is happening. I had loved him. There's no doubt about that. But I had assumed love could survive on memory alone. I had assumed presence wasn't always necessary. I was wrong. At my age, regret isn't sharp anymore. It's dull. It settles into you like a second spine. You learn to live with it, because there's no other option. I don't replay every mistake, just the ones that mattered. I think about all the times I chose something else over him, not because those choices were bad. They were reasonable. They made sense at the time. That's what makes them dangerous. I assumed there would be another dinner, another call, another year. I assumed loyalty could wait. If you're listening to this, I won't tell you what to do. I don't have the authority for that. All I can tell you is what I learned too late. Pay attention to the people who don't demand your attention. They are often the ones who need it most. If this meant something to you, sit with it for a moment. That's all. I don't have much time left. I know that now in a way I didn't before. And strangely, that knowledge has made things simpler. I miss my friend, not just who he was, but who I was when I was with him. I miss the version of myself that didn't always think there would be more time. That's the truth. And now it's out of me. Thank you for listening.